Tom could join now before we finish, so.
Absolutely. Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR Sports weekly rugby podcast. We look after Carlow, Kilkenny and Tullow every week. We're talking local rugby clubs, local rugby, youths, women's, men's, and talking about the clubs themselves and what's going on around the place. We have Paddy, Browne on the line there now at the moment. Paddy, how are you going?
Hi Stephen, how are you?
Sure, not too bad. Busy week and weekend. You were in action last weekend. The lads were quiet. We'll catch up with the lads a little bit later on, of course. But you were kept busy over the weekend. There's been a lot of news separate to the local stuff, Paddy, as well over the weekend with Graham Rowntree either leaving or being pushed out of his position with Munster. I suppose before we get cracking on the local stuff, I get your thoughts quickly on the Graham Rowntree thing. Very unusual. I think I was shocked the same as a lot of people, but was he pushed or did he jump?
Well, Stephen, before we get to that, can I just two things? First of all, compliment yourself on completing your 5th marathon. I mean, it's a fantastic achievement given your all you've got, you know, and I mean, it's no easy task. And you were telling me there before we come on air about hitting the wall at 30 kilometers, and my God, I'm exhausted after listening to you. But congratulations anyway. It must be a great feeling. Have you the medal there?
Yeah, no, it is. I have the old medal here beside me.
Good man.
There's the proof.
Well done.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's hard. Marathons are hard, but if anyone's got any sort of a moderate level of fitness at all, it's definitely in you to do a marathon. Put in a bit of training, a couple of long runs, and you'll never forget. It's a great old memory, and it's a great day. The Dublin Marathon is something else. The support the whole way around the track is
brilliant.
It's incredible, Paddy. It's
well done.
Marathon. It's brilliant. Dublin should be complimented on it, and that it's a great old day out. But yeah, that's me. But Graham
Rowntree. I mean, you're asking a Leinster man now, and our other two panelists are true Leinsters, as I remind them every week. So they might have stronger views on the matter and more insight than I have. But from where I'm sitting in the heart of Leinster, unlike the two boys, it's a big shock. There was a few rumours about losing the dressing room and about Peter O'Mahony relinquishing the captaincy after one or two matches, and certainly the Zebra match, I think, was probably the big turning point, even more so than the two results in South Africa. But I mean, it really all come out in the wash. But reading Gordon Darcy during the week, and I agree with everything he said, regardless of how bad things had got, I mean, it's a really, really strange thing to do 6 matches into the season. I mean, it's a bit different to, as he said, as Wayne Hutchcombe said, it ain't soccer. I mean, we shouldn't be changing referee or managers this early in the season, because it's so hard to, the rugby season is so built as an overall unit, and the preparation pre-season and building momentum as the year goes on is so unique to rugby that I think it's a really strange decision, unless things went horribly wrong. And I think a man that was only there for 2 years and got them their first trophy in 12 years, and you know, an eminently sound man to listen to in an interview. I don't know how bad things could have got for them to take that drastic move.
Yeah, no, that's it. And yeah, the question I keep asking with any sort of thing like that is it's always the why. Is it going to benefit the province doing it this early in the season? Why not wait till the end of the season? Yeah, it's very soccer-like, and it's not something that I like to see in rugby at all.
No.
But yeah, I'm very surprised.
They have a ready-made replacement in Felix Jones, but he's not available till the end of the season, and England are not going to let him go. Mike Prendergast probably will be the man, and he is a great coach, so they're lucky to have him. But like, the uncertainty this generates in players that are coming into a key part of the season. I know there's a break now for a few weeks, but like we've European action straight after that, and it's bad preparation for that.
Yeah, no, it is, and then with the injuries and everything else as well. But I do know that Leinster is getting blamed for a lot of it anyway, Paddy, and money and the IRFU and all this sort of stuff. I don't think that's the whole story either. I don't think it's all to do with funding and everything like that. I know they're having a hard time with their injuries and all that sort of stuff, but there's so much that needs to go on behind the scenes to run a business like that, you know, financially and otherwise, and recruit players and bring players through academies and all that as well. It couldn't be over one or two little issues anyway. I don't think it's that.
Yeah, And I'm now that James and Tom are not here, I can confirm the rumour that Graham Roundtree is coming to Leinster in an assistant coaching position. So you can tell the boys that later, okay?
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, Jamie, man, we're blamed for enough things anyway. But
That's
just
right.
to touch on that point, Leinster, I suppose, seen the success in Munster years ago, Paddy, and they said, well, we want a bit of that. And I remember interviewing Sean O'Brien. Oh, geez, he was in the academy that time. Must be 2007 or 2008 when I was with KCLR full time. And I remember talking to Sean, and the ethos of Leinster at the time was to develop those academies and to bring through their own players and all this
Oh,
stuff.
yeah,
And that's
Sean.
going on. Like, that plan has been in place for such a long time. When Sean was even coming through the academy, that's what Leinster were about that time, was bringing through all that youth and, and being proud of all these homegrown players.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a few massive signings in Easton Asiwe and Rocky Elsom and now, of course, RG and James. But I mean, the key success has been the homegrown players. And when you talk to Sean back in 2008, he was probably about 19 and coming onto the team up through the academy, and one of the few that came through the local scene, on which we're very proud of. But yeah, Leinster have done an enormous job, and they really, the other provinces, I think, and I'm not gloating, but the other provinces really need to try and emulate that more, because there's plenty of good rugby schools, particularly in Ulster and Munster. Connacht wouldn't have as many, but they haven't utilised their academies to the same extent as Leinster have.
Yeah, and I think, and Connacht, with the little resources they have, do quite a good job at bringing through their own lads as well, and they recruit very cleverly as well. Josh Murphy from Leinster into their back row or second row in Connacht, and Keane Prendergast and players like that. You have to be sort of clever and play the game properly as well.
Absolutely, and the way they snatched Mac Hansen out of a restaurant in Sydney or somewhere was a real coup, and look what he's done. So yeah, they've done very well with limited resources.
Absolutely. Right, Paddy, we'll talk about the local stuff. You were in action last weekend. It was the AIL Cup, so a new departure and another bit of history for Tullow, I suppose. And you went up against Creggs and you won. Yeah,
it was an interesting day out because it was a day off for all the Leinster League teams, bar those that were involved in the Leinster Junior League or the Leinster Junior Cup. So the 4 top teams from each province get involved in a knockout cup. And as I say, it's an off Sunday for the rest of the teams. So cup rugby at this time of the year in October was a novelty for Tullow. Another novelty, of course, was the fact that we were playing a team from outside the province. So it was a great day out. And in fairness to Creggs, they brought down a big crowd, and they had a bus and they had lots of cars as well. And Tullow numbers were quite good as well for a cup match at that time of the year. You'd wonder about the benefits of it. It is a bit of a mixed blessing, because you're obviously, the league is priority, and you're worried about injuries. And I do note that we were told that Seapoint, who we're playing next week, sent down a skeleton team to play their match in Cork in preparation for next week. The other side of that coin, of course, is if you do get through the match, a good tough cup match without injuries, it's good preparation for the next league match. And I have to say that we were very pleased we didn't have any injuries, and we have a more or less a clean bill of health after last Sunday. So winning the match and then coming out relatively unscathed from an injury point of view was an added bonus. So the game itself was a very interesting game. The Tullow team, I just call them out to you there, was Darragh Cosgrave fullback, Tyg Walsh, Ryan Jordan, Adam Johnson, Ryan O'Neill, half Peter Burgess from Rathvilly, a young player, this great prospect, and Gareth Fitzgerald, the scrum half. The front row, Scott Callback, Brian Keogh, Tom Cashin. In the second row, Joe Waters and Martin Cole. And in the back row, Jack McDonald, Fiacre Byrne and Stephen Smith. The subs were Feet Kavanagh, Jack Fitzgerald, Tyg McCarthy Griffin, Philip Byrne and William Bryan. So a fairly experienced team, missing 2 or 3 players only. So our new recruit in the last couple of weeks is Darragh Cosgrave. He's only 19. He's up from Kildare, Easttown, that area, and he's a neighbour of the Osbornes, and he's a real Osborne lookalike. You know, he's a tall, thin, rangy player, 6'3" or 4", and red hair, and it's where he out of the Osborne stable, and he plays like that, too, very fast and a great pair of hands. So he's a great prospect. He's into college and set too, so we were delighted to recruit him. So the game, we started a bit slowly, and they got a long range penalty from Shane Purcell there out half. Was a young player, but with an excellent boot on him, and we gave away a lot of penalties. But we came good then with a Martin Cole, who typically burst over the line from about 5 meters out, and he's unstoppable from that distance. And he got a try under the post, converted by Adam Johnson. 20 minutes in, Purcell converted another long-range penalty for Creggs, and then another one after that. So we put them 9-7 ahead. And then, just before the break, the Tullow, Tom Farrell squeezed in for a visiting try, and Purcell added the points. So that should have been the platform for Connacht to build on that. But it turned around. Tullow had other ideas, and attacking down the left, Brian Keogh came up with the ball for a vital home try, and that left the score Tullow marginally ahead 16-14 at half time. So having gone behind, it was a good lead. Now in the start of the second half, Tullow really took off, and Stephen Smith got a try when he had been held up over the line. The ball was kicked out, but Stephen got the ball again, and he wasn't to be stopped the second time, and that left the score. Adam Johnson converted to lead the score 24-16. And at this stage, the Tullow forwards were on top of the game, and Scott Galback scored another try. So at this stage, the game was 31-16, and Tullow seemed to be coasting, but they did take the foot off the pedal and had a yellow card. And Creggs came back into it and scored a try and a penalty, and the score was 31-26 with about 7 or 8 minutes to go, and it was a one-score game then. Knockout rugby, bonus points didn't count, but it was in the position where a converted try would have won it. Tullow got a penalty, and Adam Johnson wisely kicked it from a long way out, and it put the game beyond Creggs. So the final score was 34-26. So it was a very satisfying day, a good game. Both teams were, particularly Creggs, set out to run the ball. Tullow, I suppose, had the bigger pack, but Creggs were running everything, and they made for a quite exciting game and on a very good day for rugby. It was an enjoyable day all round. The draw now for the quarter final is which will be played on the 16th of November. Bective have Connemara, Enniskillen and Cook is an all Ulster affair. Drumore from Ulster are playing Setonians, and we are away to Seapoint on the 16th of November, which is an interesting fixture because that's who we're playing next week in the league. Next week, I suppose, will tell us a lot more about how we rate against Seapoint. As I said earlier, they sent a skeleton team, or merely close enough to their seconds team, down to play in Cork in the Junior Cup. So that shows where their heads are in relation to the league. So that's next Saturday in Seapoint at 2:30, and that won't be easy, but hopefully the bit of momentum we've built up over the last 2 weeks might help us there, and players seem to be playing more for each other and coming into form. So I don't expect us to win, but I think we'll give good account of ourselves, and with a bit of luck, maybe we could. Our seconds obviously didn't have. There was no matches in the Leinster League, but we fixed a practice match with Wexford, who were going pretty well at the moment. And unfortunately, Wexford had a bereavement from a young player. I don't know his name, but they had a bereavement of a young player, and that match was called off. So our sympathies go out to Wexford on that very sad occasion. So that's more or less the men's. Next week, as I said, both first and seconds heading up to Seapoint for what should be 2 pretty tough fixtures. Our women continue their bad run of form and their learning curve in AIL. They went away to Galwegians last Saturday and played at 5 o'clock in the evening, and they were very heavily beaten, 48-0. So they're looking forward to a break now next weekend because they want to regroup, and there's a few women to come back from injury, so they're welcoming the break in proceedings. And our seconds women don't have a match, didn't have a match last weekend, and don't have one this weekend either. So that's more or less, Stephen, from the adult scene. Underage, we had a good weekend again. Our under 14 boys were playing Wicklow and were doing well, and unfortunately that match had to be suspended. One of our players, Luke Hassett, got a very bad cut to his leg and had to wait for an ambulance, and the match was suspended. So we're wishing, he spent 3 or 4 days in hospital, so we're wishing him all the best in his recovery. I think he's going okay. It was just a very bad cut rather than a break. The under 14 Rhinos had a big win at home to Gorey, 44-0. Our under 15 boys won away to Carlow, 45-19. The 16 boys had no match, nor had the 16 girls. Our under 18 boys had a very tight, exciting game, won 30-29 to Wicklow. The under 18 Rhinos won 22-7 to Gorey, home to Gorey. So a pretty good return all around. Next week there's a full set of matches. The under 15 boys are home to Gorey. The under 16 boys are home playing at Scorty. The under 16 Rhinos are home to Wicklow. And the men's, as I said, the men's J1s and J2s are away to Seapoint. And the under 18 boys on Sunday then are home to Carlow at the Black Gates on Sunday. So a fairly full, busy weekend coming up, and looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Paddy. A good update there on Tullow. Good luck away to Seapoint at the weekend, and all the other games as well. Carlow have a big game this weekend. Tom Crotty joins us on the podcast. Not too far for your rivals to travel, Tom, but another little local rivalry with Athy visiting Oak Park.
Yep. Another local derby, I suppose. Another 10 miles away, so we'll massive game for us, particularly with our run farm at the moment. Look, we're looking forward to having a tie. They've had a good run of form in the sense that they got a couple of bonus points at the start. I know they lost their first 3 games as well, but then they had a very good win the last day against Wicklow. So look, we know Athy well. It's a very similar game, very similar local game to the Tullow game. We're fairly much on target and preparations wise. Good turnout for training for both nights. Don't think we've a whole lot of injuries. Couple of lads back. Still one or two out, but we're near enough full strength going with the Athy coming over. We're seconds also playing Athy. Athy had they lost against Wicklow, but they've had a good run of form too. So look, it's going to be a tough weekend for us because we have to try and get points on the board. Really important because we're kind of stuck at the bottom of the table at the moment, and we have to get out. We have to get out of that. A win will get us moved up a little bit. So look, we're targeting a win. I know Athy will have a little bit of a say with that. They're a good side. They love running the ball wide. They've a couple of young players back. I see young Joey Carberry's younger brother is back playing with them as well. So look, we know they're a good side, and it's going to be a cracking game. The last couple of games, except for the first game last season, we were caught off guard in Athy, but then when we had the return fixture in Carlow, we beat them with a kick in the last minute of the game. So look, we're looking forward to it. As I say, preparations are going well, teams running well. No real injury worries at the moment. So look, we're hoping for a good game, and hopefully the results will go our way. The J2s are off at 1:00, and the seniors, then the J1s, are at 2:30, just with the new kickoff times with the hour going back. So we'll beg for any bit of support for any Carlow listeners in there, because we could do with every little bit of help we can get. You know, the support on the sideline is huge. You know, especially having a home game. We haven't had a home game in a while, so look, we're looking forward to it, and hopefully things will go our way. that's really it from the senior point of view. Paddy ran through the youth, so the girls, the under 14s, as I said, they beat Gorey, and the 16s game the girls were off because of the bereavement, and the 18s had a great win in Carlow the other night against Gorey. It was a cracking game, and it was lovely to see Roisin Kinch back after her basically a whole season out with her ACL. So she's a fantastic player with lots of prospects for her in the future. I know she's involved with the Leinster under 18s and the Irish, probably but heading towards the Irish under 18s as well. She's in that system, so it was brilliant to see her. She got a couple of minutes on the pitch on Friday night, so it was really good to see her. But look, they had a fantastic win, and the girls played. They played some cracking rugby at times. You know, it was still not perfect. We have a lot of biggest problem with us is just I don't know what it is this season, but we're struggling with injuries. Kira is calling it, which is a little hospital on the sideline with all the girls that are out. But look, they're no game this weekend, but the girls are playing Naas away next weekend. Hopefully we can get a win there and keep the league campaign on track. Then we had our under 14 boys was cancelled against Gorey. The under 16s had their game was cancelled against Enniscorthy for some reason, and on the 14th they had a good win. But our under 18s actually, so a little report on those for this week. This week we managed to get two teams fielded: a Southeast game versus Arklow and a development league against the Midland Warriors. Both games were away, so lots of travel. We had a comprehensive win against the young Arklow side. Joey Carberry, James Keogh, Pádraig Farrell all played well, but no August stole the show with some scintillating breaks from full back. He's turned into a real strike player, and we're looking forward to him stepping up to J1 Rugby next season. On Sunday, we travelled to Midland Warriors. Players who wouldn't normally get a start got a chance to put their hand up and show the coaches what they could do. This was a much tighter game with Carlow just edging a 14-5. Best for us was Luke Cahill, Elliot Rice, and Jack Dowling. We hadn't played Midland Warriors before. They're a relatively new club with big ambitions. They have a ground purchase with new pitches to be laid next September. So it was nice to get up there and play, and we wish them the best of luck in the future with all their plans. Say they're a club that's rising there, and it's nice to see clubs like that performing. Then we have a bit of kind of history coming. We have our ladies are out on Sunday. They have a friendly in Oak Park against Thurles. It's the first time we've had a home all Carlow club for, I'd say, it's nearly 20 years since we had a team out. I know we had the amalgamation with the college, but it's the first time we've had a solo Carlow team out. So I wish the ladies the best luck when they're playing at 2:00 on Sunday. You know, Park's the only one that's around. It'd be great to give them a little bit of support. There are a lot of new players who haven't played before, and the league we're in is kind of struggling to get games. They played. They had a good win last weekend in the league against Gorey. They went down there and got a very good win. So they've had two wins out of that and one game conceded. So they're moving nicely, and they're in second place there. It's actually funny because Midland Warriors are the leading team in that division at the moment. We have them coming up in a couple of weeks' time, so that'll be the kind of top of the table clash. So our girls, the women, they're a fantastic bunch, have to say. As they started, they're kind of aiming more on the social aspect this year, kind of just getting it together and having a bit of fun and getting out there and playing, which is lovely to see. You know, as there's a lot of new players to rugby and coming from all sorts of sport from GAA, and I think we've a couple of girls who've come from the GAA background want to do something over the winter when they're not playing football, and they've really added to the girls. They love the social, but they can also play a little bit too. As I said, they had a very good win against Gorey, so I want to wish them the best of luck. There's not with Carlow, we haven't not a whole lot more going on. As I say, our youths are kind of ticking along nicely. You know, as the 18s are doing well, the 16s are solid team, 15s are progressing. They were struggling for numbers earlier in the season, but seem to be pulling players together. And same with under 14s, or under 13s this week. They have a friendly on Sunday. They're the best team for pulling out friendlies with teams from all over the place. And they have Nina coming up to play them on Sunday morning. So there's no rest for the wicked with them. They seem to have a match every week. Or they were up training last night. I saw them training last night. So Halloween didn't matter to the young lads. They were having a bit of crack up in the club last night. So look, and the girls, there's the amalgamation with Tullow is all the girls are enjoying themselves, and it's great to see so many girls out playing rugby. You know, and both clubs are always welcoming new players. You know, new girls to come up and give it a try anytime, even though the season has started. We're always welcome to new players. Just want to give it a shot, because it's a fantastic. Any girls that have played are falling in love with the game, you know, and they just seem to turn up week in, week out for training and for matches, and hopefully now the next couple of years we'll see some of those girls going into both Tullow ladies and Carlow ladies. Yeah. I think that's all, Steve, from us. There's nothing other else. Just fingers crossed for the weekend. And
yeah, and that's it. A couple of games in Oak Park and a bit of crack. Tom, you don't have to travel, so you know,
yeah,
nice to enjoy that, especially after the long weekend and the midterm and all that as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we definitely could have done with a break, as to say, with the senior squad, like a lot of little niggles and stuff after the first few games. I think I know Paddy said it last season, and talking about the physicality of stepping up that division. We really, you know, it's a totally different aspect to the 1B. I think we have kind of come up to realise that the difference between 1A and 1B is, if you make mistakes in 1A, you're punished. You know, you get away with a few more mistakes and errors, and you know, you can pull them back in 1B, but 1A, you know, if you're not on track, if you drop your head or drop your concentration for a bit, you'll be punished. So it was a steep learning curve for us at the start, you know, and I think it's hard when you're coming from when you're coming from, you know, a season where you're on top and you're flying, and then to meet the sudden change of physicality, number one, and as I said, it's the quality of players you're coming up against, and the pace of the game is faster. And as I said, like, if you make mistakes, you're punished. So look, we have to go to the weekend, and from the first whistle, we just have to be clued in, because if we're not, we get punished. And so it's as I say, hopefully now at the weekend we can get things back on track.
Absolutely. The recovery room is just that little bit busier, I suppose. But
yeah,
lads, we'll have to leave it there, I'm afraid, for this week. We don't have James this week, but we'll catch up with him next week. Kilkenny are away to Salle Palmerston this weekend in the league. So we'll catch up with you all next week and see how everyone got on. Thanks for joining us, Tom Crotty, Paddy Browne, Carlow and Tullow, and we'll catch up with you next week. Good luck over the weekend.
Thank you, Stephen.
And catch you next week.
Thanks, Paddy.
Thanks, Steve. Take care.